8-1 is your final season record for our beloved Washington Commanders after a year, just an emotional roller coaster like any other year of being a fan of this team. They beat their division rival, even though it doesn't feel like a division rival for as long as we've been seeing for the past few years. The Dallas Cowboys, I think it was 26-6. Should have been a million to 0.
26-6.
26-6. Should have been a million to 0, let's be honest. But guys, the season's finally over. I mean, we can finally say that we're not watching this team on Sunday for like 3 hours. What was your immediate thoughts of the game, Noah? I just want to start off with just wow.
Yeah, so I know that everyone's been watching the live streams past couple weeks have been also part of that emotional roller coaster. It's kind of funny because we improved. Great, we got 8 wins now, bro. Step by step now. But in all seriousness, I was happy how the team played. I know one thing is that Sam Howell, week 17, week 18 is always a similar situation for a lot of guys. They're playing for their careers out there. I think Dobbs and Howell, where was this last week? Dobbs and Howell are two guys that kind of saved their careers. Howell was a young guy who said, hey, I have more promise than MCI. He didn't he wasn't looking like he was going to blow the roof off, but he was a good manager of the game, had that good rushing touchdown late. So he's going to be a part of that starting carousel possibly next year. Similar to how Dobbs did. I mean, he's a minimum back end for the Titans next year. Both teams with nothing to win, with nothing to play for. So props to them coming out. Jared Patterson's another guy that, I really believe that he's one of the few Commanders. I'm like, I wish he gets out of here because he's a number 2 running back somewhere in the NFL. And it just shows you that Scott Turner is a terrible offensive coordinator because he finally got his crap together, finally pieced things together. And even then, it didn't look pretty either. The Commanders' defense, what was to talk about tonight? Only 6 points on the board, but more importantly, they were just cutting the life out of the Cowboys' passing offense. Cowboys passing offense, nothing to sneeze at. They got some big names, Schultz, obviously CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Noah Brown. Like they're a good offense. I mean, that's why they're 12 and now they're 12-5. But the Commanders did really good with them. There's a good balanced defense, but too little, too late. I think that's the thing about the story about the Commanders. Really average team. I guess the record really does reflect the average ability of this team. There's way too many young guys that got underutilized. Jahan Dotson, Jared Patterson. These guys, they should have gotten more snaps than they did. It was embarrassing that they didn't. Dax Milne is trash. That's the one thing. I'm sorry. He caught a stray out of nowhere, but, we got Patterson on the practice squad for like 90% of the season. He can be a punt returner, kick returner. Milne fumbled, does nothing, invisible. This is very puzzling decisions. Jonathan Williams, a 6-year veteran, and he's gonna get snaps over Jared Patterson. I mean, very questionable, confusing things. So at least we can be happy with the dub. I don't want to complain too much, but this just to show you, if anything, this should be a wake-up call that if this organization was better run, we'd be a better team. But instead, we're a mediocre organization and 8-1. Nice.
At least it's not 7. Evan.
Well, personally, this might just be me, but you ain't never going to catch me with a frown on my face after we just beat Dallas. Like, no matter how bad we are, like, beating Dallas, that's, like, the highlight of the season for me always. That's number one. Number two, the defense absolutely did ball out today. The defense absolutely did ball out today, and that's proof that if there's one coach that survives this offseason, it's Jack Del Rio. It is Jack Del Rio. That being said, don't twist my words. I don't think Jack Del Rio is our next head coach because we've seen how that experiment goes in Oakland. I had to catch myself. I almost said Vegas for a second. But, like, yeah, Oakland and Jacksonville, they can testify. But, like, yeah, Sam Howell, y'all heard me say this since the open practice. Like, we at least got to see what we have in Howell before we say, oh, we got to draft a quarterback first round. And look at my guy. Look at my guy. Effective game manager. That's even more like extenuated, like enhanced by the fact that he was being coached by a guy in Scott Turner who already knew he was done here. Like he called the game, like he called up plays like he knew this was his last game. But you had Sam Howell at 11 of 19. 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 through the air, 1 on the ground. And 3 of those passes, three of those passes really hit me like the hardest because they went to Jahan Dotson. The significance of that, you had both of the key pieces in the 2022 draft day trade hooking up for three times for 72 yards. And not only that, that was first NFL pass, a touchdown to Terry McLaurin. Like, yeah, he's shown he has arm. He's shown he can extend plays. He's got a good IQ. So yeah, the future's looking bright for Sam. Future might also be looking bright too, because I don't mean to spend nothing, but now we don't have to pay Carson Wentz no more. Now we don't have to pay Carson Wentz no more. And the next time the Commanders play a game in September, we might not have to talk about Dan Snyder no more. So that's all I got to say. But fingers crossed, this was the last game of the Dan Snyder era.
No, facts.
Dan Snyder error. ERROR. That is how we should describe the last.
Nice, and I really had no reason to.
I know, bro. I know.
Thank you for catching me on that.
No problem. Of course. A lot of thoughts on this game. 8-1. I think to start off my points. Noah brought this up. Very fitting for a team like the Washington Commanders with everything that we've gone through this season, the highs, the lows. We ended up even with a tie this year at a mediocre 500. That is the best encapsulation of what the Washington Commanders were for the 2022 season. Sam Howell did some good things. Mr. Chicken Fingers, as Evan likes to say. Chicken tenders. Yes. I mean, same thing. Chicken fingers are chicken fingers. Okay.
I mean, but chicken tenders just flows better.
That's true. But he did some good things. I mean, he ran for a touchdown. His first pass period in the NFL was a touchdown pass to Terry, although Terry threw the ball into the stands. You know, it would have been nice to keep the ball for Sam, but it's all good. Jahan Dotson did some good things as well. I think there were like two first down conversions, 2 big plays at least. And then there was one that Jahan Dotson, I don't know why, but he's been dropping a little bit more passes over the last couple of weeks, and there was a drop today. Terry also had a drop. He had that big catch down the sidelines in this game. But I think the name of the game really – I'll get to Sam Howell once more, but the name of the game really was the defense. And I believe Noah mentioned this. I mean, the defense was lights out today. Lights out. If you guys saw the Fox graphic at the start of the game, we were fourth in the NFL going into this matchup. I think we're only going to be, I don't know how higher you can go than fourth in the NFL, but maybe third or second after this performance. We didn't give up too many yards to the Cowboys at passing offense. I think Dak only had like 14 yards for like a quarter and a half or something like that. Dak was all over the place today, and man, the Cow Turds, I don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs because I can see holes all over that team, whether it be the receiving core. I don't know who was talking them up, but nobody in that receiving core scares me, including the tight end, than outside of CeeDee Lamb. Dak doesn't scare me. The running back group doesn't scare me, especially with Zeke just falling off a cliff. This guy is still getting paid $14 million a year, right? Am I wrong on that as a backup running back?
Yeah. Hey, I will say, okay, in Zeke's defense, he has gotten a touchdown in 8 straight games. So I don't know if he's washed.
You only have to run 1 yard to get a touchdown, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you realize Peyton Barber. Okay.
Peyton Barber.
I'm just saying, this is a touchdown merchant.
Oh my. Imagine saying that in 2016 about Zeke. He's going to turn into Peyton Barber.
Bro, Zeke was literally he was ineffective today, bro. I'm sorry. And he's been ineffective for a good part of really the last couple seasons, if I'm going to be honest. There's a reason why Tony Pollard has over 1,000 yards. He's been the starting running back for that team.
This man of 15 catches, 50 yards, 8 touchdowns type.
Yeah, but I want to go back to Dallas. I mean, like they legitimately look like us. They look like just the persona of each
they switched
before the game. Like Milo Eifler, like the punter didn't know how to get obtain and hit it, and then he got tackled for loss. And 20-yard Terry touchdown, and then Robert Turpin is a Pro Bowler returner. He fumbles, Percy Butler recovers. So it's very confusing.
They missed the kick too.
Yeah. And they just definitely.
But they missed the kick too.
Yeah, that is true.
But we missed like 3. We missed.
Joey Sly, Abdullah, your Virginia Tech boy. His
Dude,
days are numbered, homie. Days are numbered.
I want to defend the man so bad, but you missed. Well, I wrote it down. It was like an extra point, a 52-yarder, and the 31-yarder looked like a Madden like extra point miss. You shanked it to the
And
left.
for a rookie, bro, for a first-time player at Madden, trying to use the field goal.
Timers, yeah, you got the timer all the way to the left out here, man.
Like, when are we ever gonna go into offseason where we have no questions at kicker? Like, you have to bring in some form of competition because that was inexcusable. Literally, it should have been 33-6 the final score, but. And Joey Sly.
Yeah, I thought Dawson Hopkins was all right. He got a lot of hate from this fan base, but statistically, he didn't miss too many kicks.
But he also did not. He could not make kicks beyond 40 yards, bro.
Exactly. So
that's the problem with
you
Joey.
can't have the best of both worlds. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Joey can make a 50-yarder. Just he's too busy, powerlifting or something because he can't kick no more.
Yeah, I mean, we love we all love our big boys, but you just got to make the field goal, man. Yeah,
man's looking like a fullback out there. I'm like, you want to switch? You can switch positions if you want because you're not going to be the kicker of the Commanders next year. So
true. Also, going back to the defense, shout out to Kendall Fuller. Literally dropped a pick six. Next play, same play. Dak throws it. Pick six. Kendall Fuller. That was hilarious. I don't know. What was your guys'
and they played no huddle too. Sorry.
Yeah, no. No, that was. I mean, Kendall has two pick sixes this season. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on him and his future in Washington? Like, do you think we keep him with St. Juice? Draft
you gotta keep him. If we're rotating same order. My opinion is that we got to keep Fuller. He's a veteran in the locker room. I think one thing as well is that he's just got a very strong pedigree. Obviously, his brother was a Pro Bowler in the same position. So he himself, I think, for a long time coming, should have been a Pro Bowler. I think his window as that type of level of player is over. I don't think Fuller can ever be a Pro Bowl corner. Like we're going to, truly go, this is a Pro Bowl corner. But he can be a solid veteran. I think very similar situation to, ironically, Ron's old team with Carolina. Dante Jackson. A lot of people thought, like Fuller, they're like, this guy's got a bright future. He could be a Pro Bowl corner one day. But now you realize, hey, he's a good starter, Pro Bowl potential. Maybe not there, but he's a solid starter. And we need depth. And, corner is a position that you always need some depth in. I don't think Fuller's overpaid. He's not getting paid any crazy amount like Carson Wentz. So keeping him around would add more value than cutting him. Be good to continue to mentor St. Juice. Also, as we bolster up that defensive back unit, he's one of our few leaders on that side of the ball. And we know for the past 5-6 years, DB has been one of our worst positions. That's why we went out and overpaid Josh Norman. That's why we've always tried to get the big free agent, Clinton Dix, Landon Collins. We've been desperate for all of those, elite DB.
Recently retired. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Congratulations to him. Great career. But he, by the time he went to DC, he was already old, so it didn't matter. So Fuller is someone that we should keep because we've been trying to get these veterans at least not overpaid. And is he out of his prime? Yes. Is he washed? No. So it's good to keep him there, build up our young DBs, and hopefully it will help attract at least a decent starting level guy to come to DC because we saw our defense is already really talented. I think the weakest group since the beginning of this year we said was linebacker, DB. So only way to build is to have pieces already there, and no elite cornerback is going to come to a team that has not even a decent starter. So having Fuller, having St. Juice, like, hey, there's a good core. If I come in, I can elevate this defense. So I think we got to keep him. Amongst all the veterans that people want to cut, I don't think Fuller is one of those guys.
Evan?
All right, so personally, I agree with Noah. And I'm going to keep this short. Even if we can't get, Pro Bowl production out of Kendall Fuller, he could be a veteran presence, and that's really important because we got a lot of young guys on this team at pretty much every position, all across the board. You got Jahan Dotson at wide receiver. Terry I'd say he only just graduated out of the young guy category. And by that same logic, Chase is just now graduating out of that. Montez Sweat just now graduating. We've got Jamin Davis. We've got Benjamin St. Juice. We got Cam Curl and these young guys. And really, if you're young and you have ambitions of getting in the playoffs like the Commanders are at this point definitely going to have next year, you need veteran presence. You need somebody that's going to step in and let these guys know how to win in the league, basically. And Kendall Fuller can do that. He's been on a couple deep Washington teams. He even won a Super Bowl in Kansas City. So this man knows what it takes to win. So who better to teach you how to win in the NFL than a dude that's won the Super Bowl? That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kendall is definitely a confusing player, but he's a confusingly good player, not a confusingly bad player. And when I say that, I mean he'll give up a crazy bad play like he did last week against, I believe it was Amari Cooper, where he was about to make the tackle and he got twisted over towards the sideline and just whipped at the tackle and allowed Amari Cooper to score that long touchdown. But then you'll have, a couple pick sixes and a couple really nice pass deflections. It might even be the best defensive player in a certain game over the course of the season. Very confusing player. But we are not a good enough team to let a Kendall Fuller type of player go, whether it be via trade or free agency or cut or whatever you want to say. So I definitely agree with with Noah and Evan that we should definitely keep Kendall Fuller. We just need to add to the position. We really do. I mean, going into the season, we were talking about the lack of depth at cornerback, right? Like, who are we starting behind Kendall Fuller and William Jackson III? I mean, Benjamin St. Juste did step up, but I mean, we weren't expecting this, type of production out of Danny Johnson, right? We got lucky with that, but are we going to get lucky next season? Especially if, next season we have more injuries at the position. Like, I definitely think we need to add to that position. I will say, in terms of linebackers, Noah mentioned this. Can we actually give a round of applause to David Mayo? Because he was actually pretty good today.
This feels so
actually pretty good today. No, I'm serious. He was pretty good today. Like, he was actually serviceable. Like, I don't know. It was just something that caught my eye. Like, he was good in coverage. He was guarding Schultz a little bit today, and I don't know. He was pretty good today.
Out of all the guys you give a shout out to, you give it to David Mayo, dude.
No, I mean because Noah mentioned linebacker.
Damn, Howell's rookie debut, and you're saying
Noah mentioned linebacker. That's why. That's the only reason why.
Hey, I just find it funny that on the this exact same moment last season, our final live stream, the end of the 2021 season, we all said David Mayo's got to go. He's trash, and then he got we let him go, and in true Commanders
still
fashion,
gotta go though.
yeah, he had somehow he's been back for 2 weeks, and we're like, he gotta go. Why is he here?
I said one game, guys. Calm down. I said one game today. He was pretty good.
Not even secret David
Okay,
Mayo.
I'll give him that. I just find it funny that he was gone from our team. Last 3 weeks, we just re-signed him for some reason, and now he's back. So yeah,
I will say he's sure as heck is better than John Bostic. I'll say that. I'll definitely say that.
And he gone too.
Like Evan said, he gone too. They're both gone, bro.
Yeah, man.
You're looking at 2 future XFL All Pros, okay? Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to go to
DC defender for all I care.
Speaking of trash, going to Scott Turner. Earlier before this game, I think it was yesterday, the report came out that players said that they don't like Scott Turner's predictable play calling. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us fans can agree with that. Scott Turner, I mean, again, I'm hoping it was his last day as a play caller, probably in the NFL for other fans' sake. What was your thoughts on his play calling today? And I'll start off with Evan on this one.
All right, today, that man called the game, like I said earlier, like he knew he's not coming back next year. I'm talking I'm talking office already packed up. He already done put in his 2-week notice. Like he knew that was his last day on the job, and he coached like it. Like I mean, we're talking. I know I'm rehashing points here, but we're talking about a game that I know it doesn't mean anything. I know we got eliminated last week. We're throwing out a rookie quarterback who the fan base actually A, knew about already, and B, was significantly hype about. And we're throwing him out to see what he has, against the type of team in the Cowboys that's actually playing for something, that has the talent and the intensity level that he's gonna have to face if he's going to be our starting quarterback. So you put him in this situation, and Scott Turner, a man who throughout the season has been quick to abandon the run for absolutely no reason. He goes more run heavy than I've ever seen him go at any point in his career. And it just feels more like a straight up middle finger, knowing that Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson were both out, and he's still giving that many carries to Jonathan Williams, that many carries to to Jared Patterson. I mean, DMV zone, PG zone, love him to death, but I think he's going to be better off somewhere else. But he and Jonathan Williams get all those carries, and you don't really give Sam Howell a chance to put a drive on his back to really show off his arm, show you what he has, except for a little underneath route here, a screen pass there, that one deep ball to Jahan Dotson. Really, that's the only time he tested the second. That's really the only time he was allowed to test the secondary. And yeah, this Scott, like, I'm glad we won today, but this Scott Turner era, I'm not gonna miss it.
Definitely no.
Oh, I mean, everybody pretty calm, but I don't know why y'all calm, because Scott Turner is the worst coordinator in the league. So, everybody's like, well, like Evan said, though, we don't have to care anymore, but he gone. So,
He gone.
He had Jonathan Williams get more carries than Jonathan Taylor today. He didn't give a crap. He just, let's run the ball and let's hope our defense continues to play at an all-pro level. And then, they somehow won. But, it was one of those things where they should have won by a bazillion. But the Cowboys also played horribly. So this was any other team that didn't play terribly, then we wouldn't be saying the same thing. 17 carries to Patterson. Valid. He had a decent return. You got Jonathan Williams out there, 12 carries with 6 targets. Okay, that's Christian McCaffrey to Scott Turner. Great. We got Christian McCaffrey. We have prime LT out there, apparently. And it just a lot of puzzling choices by Scott Turner, not just in the players that he wanted in the system, but, who he targeted, who he prioritized. He's trying to make Curtis Samuel Tyreek Hill, which should have happened 2 years ago. But he, unfortunately, is not the guy that he once was pre-injury. So, I mean, it was embarrassing. I mean, Scott Turner, I'm sorry, bro. I'll shake your hand. I respect you. You made the NFL. You're an offensive coordinator, but not for the Commanders. It was terrible play calling all year. It's kind of funny because everyone said Matt Canada is a terrible coordinator. At least he kind of turned around.
Too. Like,
He's terrible too, and he somehow turned that crap around. Scott Turner out here, like you said, like Evan said, just throwing in the towel. I have so much more things to say. I think for some reason on the stream, I'm slowly turning into Scott Turner's greatest hater. So I'm going to say nothing else. I'm going to say thank you for your time in DC. Your time in Carolina was appreciated as well. But that's all. I'm gonna just end it at that. Be classy. You made the NFL, so props to you. But that's all.
Yeah,
the Pittsburgh Steelers only allowed 20 points one time after Halloween. That was not Matt Canada turning that team around.
Exactly.
That was not Matt Canada, bro. Do not give him that
credit. Virginia's own Mike Tomlin, man. This man's, Noah mentioned this in our group chat, but this man has to go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time. Like, to just pull these teams to the playoffs or just have winning records, period, year after year after year, despite the lack of talent on this roster, is absolutely crazy. Shout out to Command This Podcast for the dono. We support you guys. Appreciate your support. What up, fellas? Unleash the Howlitzer. Announcer said Scott was imagine. Yes. I heard that too live. And my facial reaction was this. That was literally my facial reaction when I heard that. Yes. I heard that loud and clear. Yes. Then he proceeds to run on first and second. Yep. For the 11th billion time. Agreed. Scott Turner, as we've all agreed on, needs to go.
And then the Jets use the Curtis Samuel that everybody sees coming now.
Yep. Running it up the gut several times with Jared Patterson.
Curtis Samuel's Tyreek Hill, apparently. So, we got Tyreek Hill on our roster, right? So, give him the ball. He'll dodge 8 people.
I will say this. It kind of sucks because Scott Turner, I don't know if you guys remember, like he grew up a fan of this franchise. Obviously, his dad was a part of it. And there's pictures that he used, I think he posted when he first was hired of him, like with Redskins gear, like just as a kid and stuff. And it's like, it sucks. You probably grew up in the area as well. It sucks. But at the end of the day, we've had I was going to say bottom half, but really like bottom 3 offenses in 2020, 2021, 2022. For all the talk out there about, we didn't have a quarterback. Look at how many quarterbacks that Scott Turner had to deal with. How many offensive coordinators right now in the league have to deal with mediocre options at quarterback, and they're still able to produce on offense? Like I'm not expecting Scott Turner to be, top flight offensive coordinator. I don't think anybody is. but to at least maybe get to the 15 to 20 range, which we haven't done. I'm pretty sure, at least in terms of end of season rankings, these last 3 years, it's crazy. It's asinine, as my friend Stephen A would say. It's crazy. Like we gotta do better on offense, and it starts with the better offensive coordinator. It really does. If I had my way, I would fire Ron too. But I know that's not going to happen. So offensive coordinator is definitely the change that we need to make at least.
No, I legitimately there was they did a tight end sweep to I think Armani Rogers. Someone I was like a tight end sweep. Armani bro, it's just why? Just I don't know, man. And again, legitimately, there's really no reason why this man should be here next year. And if it is, then expect another bottom 5 offense in this league. But I think we got to go back to Ron Rivera. And guys, again, it was so funny because on Twitter, when the team announced his birthday, they made it public, and some guy commented, "Damn, born on the 7th. It's probably his favorite number because he gets 7 wins every year." Which, to some degree, I do understand because the fans try to every job they can get at Coach Riverboat Ron. But
I knew off principle.
Whoa, Evan, sorry to cut you off. Whoa, Riverboat. You mean paddle boat? Paddle boat, Ron?
Lifeboat.
I knew off instincts and principle not to go in them replies. I'm like, yeah, no, let me just enjoy my day.
Yeah, but I don't know. Noah, I'll start off with you. Is it time for Ron to get fired or just resign? What do they do this offseason? It's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, I know that we talked last week, and kind of the conclusion we made as a group is that Ron probably should be fired. See, the thing is, I agree with that sentiment, but I think the main thing is that the head coach, especially at a collegiate and NFL level, is not like high school. Your head coach doesn't have as much power. Well, supposed to be at least. Your head coach is not supposed to have that much power. He's more of an organizer of the team. He's like almost an assistant general manager. You're supposed to have good coordinators that they can trust to make those plays. Ron is just there to hold everything together. He's like the CEO of a business. He's not going to be micromanaging everything. So Ron, when he's in a system like Carolina, where there's a good GM, when they have a good coordinator on both sides of the ball, he can just kind of be that general manager, former player's first guy. That's perfect. That's when he's Riverboat Ron. When he has to hold everybody's hand, and you can see in the sideline, he's always arguing with Scott Turner about something, and clearly having to get more involvement in the offense. That's where we really start to play bad. So, it's one of those things where I'm okay either way. If he gets fired, then that's a good move. If he doesn't get fired, then that's a good move. If they can bring in some better coordinators, and Ron could bring in some new staff, I'll be okay with him being on board again for a 4th season. But at the end of the day, I think that's where the blame is. That's why we keep harping on Turner, because he's the clear weak link in the organization. If there's no complaints about Ron as a leader from the players, then okay, where else are we going to look? And it's our offense is horrible for considering how many good pieces we have on this offense. So if Ron doesn't get fired, that's totally fine, as long as he brings in a new offensive coordinator and brings in some just more meat to this coaching staff. I mean, Jack Del Rio, he's the face of our defense, the defensive coordinator, but there's a lot of distraction with him. He might be a decent coordinator, but he's also a dinosaur. So he became a distraction in the offseason. We were talking about that. A lot of live streams, a lot of videos we posted. He became a distraction on Twitter. It was like seeing your drunk uncle say something out of pocket on Twitter. So if he's a good coordinator, great, but he's a big distraction. If he's the identity of the defense, we need to have some other names with the Pats right now. Yes, they don't have they actually almost are going coordinatorless right now. They have Matt Patricia, who's right up there as one of the bad, top worst offensive coordinators. But they have, his son, Steve Belichick, Ivan Spears. They have a lot of good guys in the organization that holds that thing together. But you can see that the Commanders don't. Once you get past Del Rio, once you get past Turner, who do they have as a leader in that locker room, as an assistant coach, positions coach? What are we going to do? That's why organizations like the Chiefs, the organizations like the 49ers are so efficient, because even though they have their guy, I mean, when Robert Saleh left, boom, bring in the next guy comes in as DC, to the linebackers coach, and they're the best defense in the league. That's a healthy organization. So firing Ron is not going to change anything. We got to change the coaches within the organization. So I'm neutral. If he gets fired, that might be good. If he doesn't get fired, it might be okay. As long as they change. To me, it's all about the coordinators. We get rid of the coordinators, that'll be fine.
But no, the head coach controls the coordinators, like who's hired at coordinator. At least in our franchise, with Ron Rivera hiring Scott Turner, hiring Jack Del Rio, hiring these guys to be complements to his overall coaching scheme. So it's like for me, you got to fire the head coach to really have the wide sweeping change you want to see among like the coaching staff overall. That's just like my opinion. But like at the very least, like I agree with you about Scott Turner. Like Scott Turner has to go. There's just no way. Like I know Ron Rivera is way too loyal to his staff, but like he needs to go. He needs to go. Scott Turner needs to go.
There's just a lack of accountability. We talk about the moves that you made front office wise. You lose Eric Flowers. His offensive line looks terrible. You lose Brandon Sheriff. You lose Trent Williams. We saw what our boy JP Finley said. Perfect, Rand. Our poster on TikTok got famous, and shout out to him. But again, it's just a lack of accountability, not saying, hey, we made a mistake. Let's go back and get this guy. Instead, you say you like the guys in the locker room, and clearly it's not working out there. And it's been abundant this past 3 seasons. What's been happening? It's just completely frustrating. Where top to bottom, when your head coach is saying, "Yeah, let him cook, let him cook." Clearly, Scott Turner isn't cooking. If he's cooking, the fire alarm is everything is buzzing. It's just frustrating. And his time here, as long as with Dan and maybe even Ron, it has to come to an end. So, Evan, before we leave on that segment, you want to give your thoughts on that?
If this man is cooking, like, nah. Y'all say let Scott Turner cook, and then he walks in the room with a DoorDash bag.
And you know what he does, Evan? You know, Evan, you know what he does? Not only does he have the DoorDash bag, he puts it and he invites guests to come over, right? He puts it on a plate and acts like he cooked the food and serves it to his guests. That's what Scott Turner does.
And not only that, the whole time it's McDonald's.
Yeah. That's Scott Turner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, it's crazy because like any other week where we beat Dallas, I'll be hyped, but it's just the fact that we had so much potential. 7-5, our first win in a month, and this is how our season. And it just goes back to show that we've seen this show constantly, and I just don't think it will ever change until Dan sells the team. And I want to talk about this. Does he sell this offseason? I'll start off with Naudi on this one.
I'll put the chances at 62% chance that he sells, 38% that he doesn't, because he's Dan and he likes to have the power and he likes to do whatever he wants to do. Although he did change the name after saying he wasn't. But I actually think that needs to be talked about more, because this man, like, you know what? I'm going to improve the chances to maybe like 75%, because this is the same guy who literally was like, I will never change the name. Put that in all caps. And then he eventually does it. So I'm not going to lie. And again, I think this needs to be talked about more. But just that overall like fiasco, I think that for me, that like only adds to my belief that he will change or he will sell the team, because he's been saying for a while, I'm not going to sell the team. I'm not going to sell the team. I don't care what media firestorm comes my way. I'm not going to sell the team. But I think because of what we saw with the whole name thing, I think I think there's a very good possibility, definitely the highest possibility in our entire lives, that Dan's going to sell the team this offseason. And I think he will do it. The question is, though, when? Because if it's too late in the offseason, you have to keep at least Ron, right? You have to keep some of these guys in tow, because you're going to be missing out on much of the hiring process for a general manager, a head coach, and a lot of the top candidates like a D'Amico Ryans, like a Sean Payton, who I think they're only going for head coach. I don't think either of these guys are going for a coordinator spot if they do leave their teams or come back from retirement. So yeah, I think that's a big question mark. Like if he sells, and I don't know how possible it is, but late this month, like next month, maybe early March, maybe there's a possibility that we'll be able to get some of our coaching staff hires or a new. Oh, sorry, this is kind of unrelated, kind of related at the same time. Are we going to talk about our general manager? I want to replace our general manager because I get Jahan Dotson. I get that pick. Okay, good pick. First round, good pick. But are we not going to talk about how most of the best players on this team are ones that have been I was going to say leftovers, holdovers from the previous regime, like a Jonathan Allen, like a Deron Payne, like Terry McLaurin, even a Tressway, even like all these guys. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to.
Terry came in right at the end. Like,
yeah, I know, but they didn't draft him.
Yeah, he got drafted in 2019. That's why I had to remember. Like, that was the last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much there is to blame for Mayhew. He came in last year. I don't know if you have enough. I don't know.
What has he done?
Time.
Especially back in Detroit too. Like he didn't really do anything. Was it Detroit?
That's what I'm saying. What has he done? Yes, he didn't do anything. Like I'm just saying.
I just think it's only been 1 year. So the draft went pretty well. So I guess we could give him that. Signed Carson Wentz, wasted all our money and time, and then
exactly. I guess that's a fireable offense. In my opinion, that's a fireable offense. Like I'm also in that boat. Remember, like I didn't like the Wentz.
The hilarious thing is everybody that got a quarterback this past offseason lost.
Yeah, there hasn't been really a winner.
But we lost after another team already lost on the same guy. Yeah, that's my issue.
Lost, Cleveland lost, Andy lost, everybody lost. Denver lost.
I get that. Hey, Seattle.
I get that.
Didn't do bad.
Bro.
Yeah, Seattle didn't. That's a good point, Noah.
Gino looked pretty good. I mean, but he's the only record. Yeah, only guy on everybody.
Denver gave up how many first one?
I think it was like 3, something.
It was like 3. Meanwhile, we gave up a pick that could have been a third, right? It could have been a third.
Could have been a second.
It could have been a second.
It's 2/3.
But then he didn't. So at least so we kind of got out the back door on that one. But like going back to Dan Snyder real quick, just like Nadi said, Dan Snyder once said he was never going. We not the Redskins no more though. We the Commanders now. That man was like he said he's grown up. He grew up a Red. Like he was at every game. Once he had the passion, like he's gonna be at every game. Like he's still the biggest fan. Now this man running off to Italy, like England, like the Ivory Coast. Let me not bring them into this. He running off to Fiji, everywhere that's not Ashburn or Landover. That's where that man is at now. so it's like, and then he had this energy about him that the findings of the investigation were never going to come out. But yet now we're seeing leak after leak after leak after leak. All I'm saying, fellas, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Yeah, I think it's just probably his PR team telling you to stay away from the public as far as you can. I mean, the only time we really see him is like him with Jason Wright up there with his wife. But yeah, I think I know Nadi said it. The highest possibility chance it's right now, and when it happens, I just feel like it's going to be a whole breath of fresh air. Something that I didn't think I was ever going to see in my lifetime. But I mean, eventually, when push comes to shove, you're gonna have to be forced to sell the team. But before we're out,
one last thing. Sorry, I will say this. Like I mean, 98% of us want Dan to be gone. I'm one of them. All of us are
98. I'm thinking 100,
bro. There's always the 2%, bro. Evan, there's always the 2%. If you look at Facebook,
bro, this is like who defends Dan?
There's always the 2%. Yes, exactly. But I will say this. That's kind of unrelated to what I'm about to say here. So yes, we all want Dan to leave, but let's not act like we're gonna automatically win 12 games with Dan gone. We need to get our coaching staff in order. We need to get our talent in order as well. We need to draft some more young pieces, acquire some more young pieces, especially find a quarterback. I want people to really listen to this point because a lot of people want to throw a parade when Dan leaves, and I get that. Like I'll be ecstatic too. I'm one of you. We're all in this together, you know. But at the end of the day, Dan Snyder leaving, for as much as that's going to improve the state of this franchise, like completely, that doesn't mean we're going to automatically go on a run, win a Super Bowl, win multiple Super Bowls, win like 11 plus games, first time in 31 years now, 32 years now. That doesn't automatically mean all those things. We still need to get our football operations in order, right? So Dan Snyder leaving is part one. Part two is getting all the things we've addressed, the coaching changes, the roster changes, I mean, especially quarterback, like all these things. That's part two. Just want to leave that out there.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the change, I think it's more of like not being on the news for the wrong things, and then eventually we'll be like, okay,
I
we'll
get that.
better. Yeah. But I want to talk about. I looked at my phone right now. As of now, I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, Evan. I don't know if you saw this, but we have the 16th pick in the NFL draft coming up, and we also have. I think so.
Yep. I saw it. Yep.
So also we have a 3rd round pick because the compensation for Brandon Sheriff, I think a compensation 6. So how do you guys see Washington in this offseason? And we'll start off with Noah in this. What is the first thing we have to look at, and what do you think this organization does?
I think it actually sounds really weird because if we compare to other organizations that are in a similar situation, which is mediocrity to lottery, the one thing that really is beneficial is that the players that we have aren't bad. You know, like some of the other franchises like the Texans, they have legitimate question marks in their entire roster, right? Like they are, you know, Davis Mills is not him. Dameon Pierce coming out of ACL injury. Brandon Cooks is going to want to be out of there. They don't have any young receivers. They have Jordan Akins and OJ Howard at tight end. Like they have so many questions. Their defense is all right, and they got Laramie Tunsil. You know, I mean, that's like the one guy they have that's a current all-pro tackle. So they have a lot of questions. Commanders, on the other hand, the only real questions that I think we need to address is quarterback, DB, tight end. Only 3. You can say the offensive line, you can say all this stuff, but with our resources like the 1st round pick or 3rd round pick, what we can get in free agency, I think the biggest thing we need to prioritize in free agency is a tight end and DBs. In the draft, with a 16th overall pick, we could get one of the quarterbacks. Because Stroud and Young are going to be gone, but there's Levis and there's Anthony Richardson too. So we got to really think about it. Do either of these guys fit our offense? And if we have a new coordinator, who knows? I think if we go to a coordinator that actually builds around our skill set, we could run an RPO. We could run a zone run type defense or type offense. If that's the case, then it might be surprising. You might see Anthony Richardson in a Commander's uniform. It really depends because he does really well in an RPO style offense. Will Levis is there, obviously, as the big arm, whatever, check the boxes, gritty guy, as they say in the media. But you have that guy. But we have Sam Howell already. Do we need Anthony Richardson, or do we wait for Caleb Williams? It's one of those things. Like, I mean, there's a lot of different options there. In the free agency, realistically, if we were going to pursue QB in the offseason, we're going to get Derek Carr. We're going to get like some more washed-up guy. We don't need to do that anymore, right? We don't need Derek Carr. Even though last offseason I was hoping we did get him. But this time we don't. So if we're not going to get a quarterback in the offseason, then we're going to let's focus on DB and tight end in the free agency. And in the draft, we could pull something. We could pull something. Anthony Richardson might fall down to the 3rd round. What's the risk of taking him in the 3rd round? So I mean that we could address that, and we would have Richardson, we would have Howell, we have Heineke. I mean that's a good bridge situation to be in because then you have Howell and Richardson. Who knows how good they'll turn out to be, and you have Heineke's are good backup. So the draft we can focus on the quarterback situation, but the free agency we got to get better DBs, get better depth, and we got to get better tight end. Logan Thomas is finally healthy, but he's a shell of his former self. And, Bates is a great depth tight end, but getting an upgrade in that position would be a huge plus as well.
Mm-hmm. Evan?
Well, if you ask me, first of all, when we come to the draft, and I've been saying this ever since summertime, I just don't see how you look at that 1st round pick and don't think we have to go offensive line there. Because, like, if we're going to invest in a quarterback, be that Sam Howell or be that anyone else, you also got to invest in protecting him. Because what good is an elite quarterback? Like, what good is a good quarterback, even an elite quarterback, if you can't keep him on his feet? Like, if he's stuck throwing checkdowns and screens, because that's all he has time to throw before the D-backs, I mean, not the D-backs, defensive ends and the linebackers to them before they get to him, right? And the flexibility with the defense, like with offensive line, is you can get a good offensive lineman anywhere in the first round. You can get, like, you're just as likely to find one at first overall pick as you are at pick number 32. So that's like, so there's that. Plus, when you really think about it, we the team that made it cool and acceptable to draft offensive linemen in the first round. Because the last 2 times we did it, they both worked. Like you got Trent Williams, and we drafted Brandon Scherf. And if anybody for whatever reason says that neither of those picks are who we should have picked, then ask yourself why we're sitting here and mad at the team for not keeping them. Like, if they're not really that good, why are we mad that they're not still here?
That's a great point.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Naughty.
Inexplicably let go of Trent Williams and Brandon Scherf, and that this is the state of our offensive line. Even Morgan Moses was I believe a preseason cut. Could have kept him for maybe a little bit of money, but not too much. Eric Flower, like all these guys, I don't know what we're doing on the offensive line. I really don't.
He's still
outside.
Yeah. But Ron Rivera likes the guys in his locker room, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Cosme, speaking of offensive line, Cosme is not it. Not it. Another reason why. Like I'm telling you, this general manager has done nothing for us the last 2 years. Like I'm just being honest with you. I mean, Jahan Dotson, okay, first round pick. Although there were a bunch of good receivers in that early part of the first round that are all going off this season. But I'll give you that, Jahan Dotson. I mean, I don't know. But that's another. We might have another live stream. I think Abdullah and I were talking about it postseason, like a post hyphen season live stream of everything Washington Commanders, maybe next week or some week down the line. We'll get into all those issues. But for me, I completely understand Evan in terms of offensive line in the first round. I think that's a very reasonable take, and honestly, that might be the best course of action. But if this team actually wants to win games, we won't have a first-round pick. Actually, no, we'll have a first-round pick, but we probably won't have a second-round pick, maybe even a third-round pick, because those picks would go to a quarterback, a veteran quarterback, like a Derek Carr, or like someone out there. I don't know who. We'll get into that.
You give it all that for Derek. Oh, my goodness.
You're not giving
a third-round pick for Derek Carr?
For Derek Carr, bro.
A third-round pick? A third-round pick.
It's just the third, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, I'm tripping.
Well, you threw that first round pick out there. That's why we were.
No, I was thinking of someone else.
I
was thinking of. Hold on, Evan. I was thinking of someone else with that first round pick. Someone else who's just up north, 95. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh,
but I don't think that's gonna be reasonable. I think he's probably gonna get tagged, if not re-signed. So, but I mean, that would be, man. Ooh, Lamar Jackson in DC. I mean, I know we got to stop. We got to stop as a franchise. I know we do it upon ourselves. We inflict.
We're pulling the Knicks. You're making us the Knicks right now.
I know. We got to stop. I'm not even going to put that.
The whole Dan Snyder era. This is nothing.
I mean, that's facts.
We need to stop looking at other people's answers and find our own answer. We can't look up other people's paper, you know? We got to find our guy. And even though.
Who, though? In the drafts?
I don't know, but.
I'm telling you. Y'all need to. Anthony Richardson.
No.
We're throwing
I heard Anthony Richardson might go top 10.
If he goes top 10, that's a mistake.
Yeah. I think 16th is reasonable for him.
Like he's good, but not top 10 good.
So he can fall right into our lap, man. I'm telling you, Anthony Richardson could be right there. And if we pick Will Levis, I'm breaking my TV. So that's all that. That's all I can say about that.
And also, if it's not a good system, I mean, imagine Anthony Richardson and Scott Turner as your offensive coordinator.
Oh, well then, yeah.
He's the man's career off.
No, thank you.
I will say this, though. Quarterback, offensive line are definitely our two biggest needs on this team. Definitely, in my opinion, definitely our two biggest needs in terms of how we go about addressing those needs, whether it be through trade, draft, free agency. I mean, we have a lot, unfortunately, a lot of offseason to talk about that. So, but yeah, I think
we're about to end it off here. I mean, I know it was crazy. We talk about how bad this team and what they have to do this offseason, but they beat Dallas 26-6. You just can't. You love to see it. Really love to see it. But thank you guys. It's been an amazing NFL season. I still remember first live stream week 1 against the Jaguars. I think it was just Naughty, Evan, and I, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And we want to thank you guys for staying tuned for the DMVSportsZone channel. I know you guys have to go, but with that being said, make sure you are like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at DMVSportsZone. Another average season, but this offseason coming up might be the biggest offseason. Oh, before we go.
I was just going to say, the record predictions, I don't forget that. And the offseason.
Okay,
No,
I think I said 10 and
No, I said 9. Hold on. I said 9 and 8. I'm talking about before the season started. I said 9 and 8. No, I did not say. Abdullah, get Evan right. Abdullah, what did I say?
Pull up the
said 9 and 8.
Put the video replay up in here. Come on.
Receipts.
Before the season started, I said 9 and 8. I promise you, I said that.
Challenge flag.
It's red. That doesn't count. I'm dumb. My bad. You said challenge flag, not penalty.
All right, stream. We'll post the chat. We'll post the challenge review final results on the Instagram story.
Next
so we'll see if now they got exposed or not.
Enjoy your Sunday night.